Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR prepping. You already know what time it is, baby. Get your drink, pull up. We're gonna talk about it. Pretty heavy morning, this is why I should batch video, because we are going to talk about some things. We are going to talk about specifically, like deep down, really the importance of getting ready to live without power. I want to say first and foremost, I humbly want to ask for prayers for me and my family. My father-in-law, he's been home for a little less than a week, and we just found out he went to the ER last night and has sepsis, and is currently incubated, unresponsive, and in the ER waiting for a bed. Hopefully he gets one so they can get him to the ICU this afternoon, today. But I would really appreciate the prayers for him. Absolutely. Please, please, please. So, I don't even know. Okay, I'm back. Had to get myself together a little bit. Didn't expect to get so emotional so fast on camera. But I'm a little better. I planned on doing this video a few days ago, kind of to follow up with my other video, because as you guys know, if any of you guys have been following this, you know that we're finding out that there has been a ton of attacks on our grid, right? We're finding that out. If you back up the timeline, it's pretty crazy, because you have the stuff that happened in North Carolina, but several weeks consistently before that, in the month of November, there were several attacks in the state of Florida and the state of Washington State, where I live, and also Oregon. And that's not to mention any other states that we're unaware of. We kind of only found out about these other ones because North Carolina is so crazy, still have people without power. And it was just a crazy situation that, of course, when stuff happens, we're reactive and people start to talk and think about things. And then they realize that this is something that the FBI, that everybody has been tracking and has been happening recently. I don't think we need to be concerned that this is some kind of like orchestrated, coordinated, and sophisticated. I think that you have a system that is very, very broken, meaning our infrastructure, our grid, our power grid, and that if it was, God help us, that we don't have a situation at any point where people do get coordinated and want to attack, because it wouldn't take much to take it down. And the bad part about taking it down is that we don't have the parts on hand to just fix it. That's why people still don't have power in North Carolina. There's a shortage of everything, to include transformers. The transformer issue was brought to my attention like 2 years ago. Somebody had told me, hey, the transformers is a really big issue. We do not have those on hand. We can't just, get those. Same thing with street lights and replacing street lights, certain light bulbs and certain things. They don't necessarily have the materials to just fix that stuff. And so when you have an infrastructure that's already trash, and then things happen, things get broke, whether it's like this, right? It's an enemy, it's somebody trying to take it down, or it's just weather, or it's just whatever, right? We're going to run into issues. And so I think it is imperative that you really think, because you have folks who live in North Carolina, and their game plan was just to pack up their car and go to a friend's house, or pack up their car and go to a hotel, or pack up their car and go to some family members, right? Or some friends in the town over, right? That's not a solid game plan, especially when things last for a long time. How long are you going to be able to stay with that family member, that friend, or that hotel room? A hotel room, if you're having to do that, gets expensive real fast, because of just the food and obviously the hotel or motel itself, right? And so that's not a very good plan, in my opinion. And evacuation shouldn't be your first inkling over something like power. What should happen is that you're prepared for that, and you can make it, and you can succeed with your family in executing your everyday life. Your quality of life is okay because you've prepared for it. I just did a video the other day when I talked about the grid being attacked, and we talked a little bit about all the areas of ways to get ready. And I think about those families and I think about what is the number one thing. I mean, we're ready, but my thing was like, what's the number one thing that would be a problem right from jump? Your immediate problem, right? Especially now in wintertime, and that's heat and staying warm. And people all day will be all smart and be like, well, you put your bubble wrap or your plastic up, you put your blackout curtains, you put your blankets up, you do this stuff to kind of warm your house. Maybe you have alternative heating, maybe you do not. And we talk about those things, but baby, if you do not have those things in your home now, they're not going to help you. So you could know all day that, wow, a heavy blanket, some good old bubble wrap, would be very beneficial for my windows, right? But if you don't actually have that bubble wrap already, you don't actually have those blankets, and this turns into something where you can't even get to an ATM, you can't take no cash out, you can't buy nothing, you can't get on the internet to buy you some bubble wrap or some blankets, right? You can't get this stuff. And if you think, oh, I'll just drive to the next town over and just get the things I need, but everybody, 90% of people are doing just that. And so you've got to get these things in your home and think about heat, immediate heat, heavy socks, wool socks, especially if you live somewhere where you have heat all the time, you just don't think about it. You take it for granted. Maybe you have some good cotton socks, but you don't even have one pair of really, really good, high quality wool socks that go up to like your kneecap, right? Get that stuff. Get your pocket warmers, get your gloves. Again, people are sitting here, oh yeah, we got gloves, we got, beanies, we got the little earmuff things, we got sweatshirts, we got socks, whatever. But how much of that stuff do you have? Honestly, right? Gloves. You start working, you do something, you misplace one. Now you don't have any gloves because you only had one pair for each person, right? And then you don't have it, socks. Misplaced one, can't find them, whatever. Having that stuff. Jackets, maybe you have jackets, but they're not really jackets. I'm talking about a good heavy duty jacket that can maybe go over stuff, can go over a flannel, can go over a sweatshirt, right? Having the earmuff things, having, your everyday, your beanies, whatever. And having more than one of it, okay? Even people who live in cold areas might not necessarily have more of stuff that's needed. So I'm urging you, there's a reason why they say the percentage is so high of people dying, because exposure to cold like that, and you cannot get warm, you cannot heat your home, that's a problem. That's going to be your number one problem, and you're going to feel it right away. Okay, within an hour, you're going to feel that heat is off. Your house is slowly getting colder and colder and colder. And before you know it, you're going to be seeing that breath. When you blow out of your mouth, you're going to be seeing, that in your home. Okay. And so you've really got to prepare. Take a look at your supplies. Extra blankets. You have all the beds made. How many extra blankets do you have to put on the bed, right? Do you have a good below zero sleeping bag for everybody in your house? Wear those out. Where are they at? Have you pulled them out recently? Gotten them washed? Have them staged. Put them in each bedroom. Don't put them in the garage or wherever. Stage them in the room and just have them in there. And you'll know. Pull those out because when stuff happens, you want to start keeping family busy, because that keeps them not idle and just, I can't play a video game and I can't do this and it's cold, mom, and what are we eating? And if you have things that need to be done right away when certain things happen, it keeps kind of everybody moving around, which keeps them warmer. It keeps them occupied with their brain doing something, and you're actually getting stuff ready. So if those sleeping bags are staged in the room, and then you're having kids, okay, get the sleeping bag, get them unfolded, shake them out, get them placed in your bed, put your blankets over them, right? Get that all warm and just keep it, right? Then they start helping with the windows. We're going to bubble wrap, then we're going to put some blankets. But really now see, if you had your bedding, you had your sleeping bag, okay? You had, if you have you're planning to do the tent thing with your children. Get the tent set up, right? It doesn't matter if you only have no power for 24 hours. Them having the ability to pop that tent up right away, it keeps them busy, it keeps them moving. They get to set up the tent, set up their sleeping bags, get their blankets all situated in there, make it fun, make it a fort, make it nice and cozy. And then that's already done kind of for them, okay? And then start doing your windows. But you need to see now, how many extra blankets do you have to put on everybody? What do you have to put on your windows? If you don't have your stuff, get it now. Weighted blankets, so special blankets, wool blankets, weighted blankets carry a lot of heat in them. I was thinking about making my own weighted blanket the other day. I have all these jeans I need to get rid of. I was like, I could cut those up and make some sort of weighted blanket with this jean material, right? Make a quilt of some sort. So weighted blankets, and then heating blankets. Now, obviously, heating blankets, you have to be able to plug them in. So you've got to have your solar generators, your regular generators. You need to think of power in some capacity. Start with what you need emergency wise for the powering, right? Do you have to have power? Maybe not, okay? You have lanterns, you have oil lanterns, you have this, you have that, right? You have propane stuff, butane, you can cook, you can do all this stuff. But just think about what you really, really need and get those backups of that stuff. What else? We already talked, obviously, as preparing in general, you're already going to be ready in a lot of ways, like the food, water, meds, the fuels, the propanes, the stuff. If you figured out, how you're going to cook, your alternate way of cooking, all of that's going to be fine. But heat is going to be the number one thing right away that you're going to feel. And I think after heat, it does become, okay, how are we going to cook, lunch or dinner or breakfast? Where's that stuff at? Is it readily available? Pull that stuff out now. Kind of figure out where you can stage that extra camp stove, some fuel. Like, where can you stack this stuff? Maybe you have everything in your garage or a detached garage or a shed or whatever, and that's fine. But what you don't want to be doing is trying to dig through stuff, dig through totes, dig through, try to find certain things when there's certain things you're going to need right away, right? That's why I say stage lanterns throughout the house. Your oil lanterns and your regular lanterns, stage throughout the house, are ready to go. Your flashlights, batteries. If you stage that sleeping bag in each room, right? Stage the bubble wrap and really figure out now if you have extra blankets to put up. Maybe you can go buy the blackout curtains, have them in a drawer, have them inside the house somewhere where you could easily change out the curtains as well for thicker blackout curtains. I like those, but I like the idea of bubble wrap, throwing up bubble wrap. It's very easy to throw up. And then I think it's even easier than plastic, right? So bubble wrap to throw up those curtains if you don't have them already, and throwing up a blanket. Put the blanket between the bubble wrap and the curtains. And so you see the curtains is what you see in the inside. But I think it's important to concentrate on the things that would be harmful to you and your family right away. And that is, heat and staying warm. And then it becomes food. How are you going to eat? What are you going to eat? Do you have the right pans to cook over that camp stove, right? Do you have the paper products to just be able to serve somebody some, you heated up some stew in one of those pans, and you have some paper bowls to feed everybody in that night, right? Utensils, that stuff. Walk yourself through the daily things and how you would do it, right? Having your water, because you need it backed up for everything. With power, you don't be naive. It's just a matter of time before no more water is coming through the tap, or it is, but it's contaminated. It's not being treated, right? Because they don't have a way to power it, and you get a boil only notice or whatever. Be prepared for that. How are you going to boil that water when you get that notice, right? Do you have a big pot? Are you doing that on a fire pit, on a barbecue, or on that camp stove? How are you boiling your water, right? And hygiene and cleaning, all that stuff kind of comes later as you need those things. But you need to be able to listen to what's going on. So you need that radio pulled out right away. You know, again, staged. We have our AM, FM staged. We have some that are in Faraday cages, and then we have some that are just out, right? As part of the decor, I have bought some little vintage AM, FM ones that are just part of the decor. And so you're not panicked doing all this stuff, trying to find this stuff. It's part of your life. It's embedded in, literally in each room, staged. Okay. Security is another one that needs to be thought out, you know, right away, as far as any extra things you need to be doing as far as locking gates or putting extra locks on gates, or ensuring, you know exactly how many lights around your property are motion sensor and are solar and going to continue to still work, and which ones are not. You know, you don't want your house to light up like a Christmas tree, but having a few strategic lights where people know, oh, it's because obviously it's solar, right? They can see the solar. But think about that stuff, right? You know, things can go left real fast, especially it's not such a big deal if it's just your little city, your little town. But if you talk bigger scale, an entire state loses power. That's the chaos. That's the beginning of chaos, especially if it's a state that has a huge city. It's a wrap, okay? You need to be staying indoors and not be out on the streets, because that's where the chaos starts. Because you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna go to the streets when we get to that level, right? Where it's a whole state, or it's states, or it's the United States. That's where it gets really, really hairy and unsafe, basically. So I hope you guys are well. I pray, thank you right now for any prayers for Pops. While he is in the hospital right now. He's super strong. You know, he's a Marine. He was a police officer. He's a tough cookie. And so I would just pray. I'm asking for all the prayers that we can get for him. Please, please, please. I'll take it all. I'm super greedy when it comes to prayer. So, if you've got a moment in your day to do that for us, I would greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys stay well. I'll have, my video is going to be, I just have to put it together. I canned some more turkey broth, kind of walk you through that process. I don't want that channel to really become like a canning channel, but I am going to just walk you through doing my turkey broth, and I guess it's broth / stock, because I did 2 carcasses, and they had quite, obviously, bones, carcass, right? But there was still tons and tons of meat. And so after I was done, I was actually able to pull a bunch of meat off, and we've been eating sandwiches off of that for the last day or so as well. So very, very blessed with these turkeys and what we're doing. You know, most people would just throw this out and not even get the blessings after you've ate the bird on Thanksgiving. There's so much more that you can do and utilize. So go ahead and hopefully you go and visit me on my other channel today. That video will drop at 3, and I will see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. I hope you guys have a great weekend.